Assalamu alaikum. Thank you all for coming um, and joining us here today to remember and commemorate Marhum Muhammad Baqir Bharwani, my grandfather. Tonight's program is as follows. Until around 7:30, so another 10 minutes, inshallah, we request you to recite Quran for Marhum's soul. After which we'll have Surah Yasin, Marthia, short Majlis, and then Tabarak, inshallah. Please remember Marhum and all Marhumin with Surah Fatiha. Asant. محمد وآل محمد صلوات. الفاتحة. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ياسين والقرآن الحكيم إنك لمن المرسلين على صراط مستقيم تنزيل العزيز الرحيم لتنذر قوما ما أنذر آباؤهم فهم غافلون لقد حق القول على أكثرهم فهم لا يؤمنون إنا جعلنا في أعناقهم أغلالا فهي إلى الأذقان فهم مقمحون وجعلنا من بين أيديهم سدا ومن خلفهم سدا فأغشيناهم فهم لا يبصرون وسواء عليهم أنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون إنما تنذر من اتبع الذكر وخشي الرحمن بالغيب فبشره بمغفرة وأجر كريم إنا نحن نحيي الموتى ونكتب ما قدموا وآثارهم وكل شيء أحصيناه في إمام مبين واضرب لهم مثلا أصحاب القرية إذ جاءها المرسلون إذ أرسلنا إليهم 2 فكذبوهما فعززنا بثالث فقالوا إنا إليكم مرسلون قالوا ما أنتم إلا بشر مثلنا وما أنزل الرحمن من شيء إن أنتم إلا تكذبون قالوا ربنا يعلم إنا إليكم لمرسلون وما علينا إلا البلاغ المبين قالوا إنا تطيرنا بكم لئن لم تنتهوا لنرجمنكم وليمسنكم منا عذاب أليم قالوا طائركم معكم أئن ذكرتم بل أنتم قوم مسرفون وجاء من أقصى المدينة رجل يسعى قال يا قوم اتبعوا المرسلين اتبعوا من لا يسألكم أجرا وهم مهتدون وما لي لا أعبد الذي فطرني وإليه ترجعون أتخذ من دونه آلهة إن يردني الرحمن بضر لا تغني عني شفاعتهم شيئا ولا ينقذون إني إذا لفي ضلال مبين إني آمنت بربكم فاسمعون قيل ادخل الجنة قال يا ليت قومي يعلمون بما غفر لي ربي وجعلني من المكرمين وما أنزلنا على قومه من بعده من جند من السماء وما كنا منزلين إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم خامدون يا حسرة على العباد ما يأتيهم من رسول إلا كانوا به يستهزئون ألم يروا كم أهلكنا قبلهم من القرون أنهم إليهم لا يرجعون وإن كل لما جميع لدينا محضرون وآية لهم الأرض الميتة أحييناها وأخرجنا منها حبا فمنه يأكلون وجعلنا فيها جنات من نخيل وأعناب وفجرنا فيها من العيون ليأكلوا من ثمره وما عملته أيديهم أفلا يشكرون سبحان الذي خلق الأزواج كلها مما تنبت الأرض ومن أنفسهم ومما لا يعلمون وآية لهم الليل نسلخ منه النهار فإذا هم مظلمون والشمس تجري لمستقر لها ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم والقمر قدرناه منازل حتى عاد كالأرجون القديم لا الشمس ينبغي لها أن تدرك القمر ولا الليل سابق النهار وكل في فلك يسبحون وآية لهم أنا حملنا ذريتهم في الفلك المشحون وخلقنا لهم من مثله ما يركبون وإن نشأ نغرقهم فلا صريخ لهم ولا هم ينقذون إلا رحمة منا ومتاعا إلى حين وإذا قيل لهم اتقوا ما بين أيديكم وما خلفكم لعلكم ترحمون وما تأتيهم من آية من آيات ربهم إلا كانوا عنها معرضين. وإذا قيل لهم أنفقوا مما رزقكم الله قال الذين كفروا للذين آمنوا أنطعم من لو يشاء الله أطعمه إن أنتم إلا في ضلال مبين. ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين ما ينظرون إلا صيحة واحدة تأخذهم وهم يخصمون فلا يستطيعون توصية ولا إلى أهلهم يرجعون. ونفخ في الصور فإذا هم من الأجداث إلى ربهم ينسلون. قالوا يا ويلنا من بعثنا من مرقدنا هذا ما وعد الرحمن وصدق المرسلون إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم جميع لدينا محضرون. فاليوم لا تظلم نفس شيئا ولا تجزون إلا ما كنتم تعملون. إن أصحاب الجنة اليوم في شغل فاكهون هم وأزواجهم في ظلال على الأرائك متكئون لهم فيها فاكهة ولهم ما يدعون سلام قولا من رب رحيم. وامتازوا اليوم أيها المجرمون ألم أحد إليكم يا بني آدم ألا تعبدوا الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين وأن اعبدوني هذا صراط مستقيم. ولقد أضل منكم جبلا كثيرا أفلم تكونوا تعقلون هذه جهنم التي كنتم توعدون اصلوها اليوم بما كنتم تكفرون. اليوم نختم على أفواههم وتكلمنا أيديهم وتشهد أرجلهم بما كانوا يكسبون. ولو نشاء لطمسنا على أعينهم فاستبقوا الصراط فأنى يبصرون. ولو نشاء لمسخناهم على مكانتهم فما استطاعوا مضيا ولا يرجعون. ومن نعمره ننكس في الخلق أفلا يعقلون. وما علمناه الشعر وما ينبغي له إن هو إلا ذكر وقرآن مبين لينذر من كان حيا ويهق القول على الكافرين. أولم يروا أنا خلقنا لهم مما عملت أيدينا أنعاما فهم لها مالكون وظللناها لهم فمنها ركوبهم ومنها يأكلون ولهم فيها منافع ومشارب أفلا يشكرون. واتخذوا من دون الله آلهة لعلهم ينصرون لا يستطيعون نصرهم وهم لهم جند محضرون فلا يحزنك قولهم إنا نعلم ما يسرون وما يعلنون. أولم ير الإنسان أنا خلقناه من نطفة فإذا هو خصيم مبين وضرب لنا مثلا ونسي خلقه قال من يحيي العظام وهي رميم قل يحييها الذي أنشأها أول مرة وهو بكل خلق عليم. الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون أوليس الذي خلق السماوات والأرض بقادر ألا أن يخلق مثلهم بلى وهو الخلاق العليم. إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون فسبحان الذي بيده ملكوت كل شيء وإليه ترجعون. صدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على الفاتحة.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله
أحد
الله
الصمد
لم
ولم يكن له كفوا أحد.
کاش عباس نہ مارے جاتے، کاش عباس نہ مارے جاتے، کاش عباس نہ مارے جاتے، کاش عباس نہ مارے جاتے۔ دونوں بازو وہ شہنشاہ ہے وفا کے تھامے، لاش عباس پہ شبیر بکا کرتے تھے، بھائی تم بعد ہمارے جاتے، کاش عباس نہ مارے جاتے، کاش عباس نہ مارے جاتے، کاش عباس۔ اس طرح لگتی نہ اکبر کے کلیجے میں سنا، اس طرح ہوتی نہ سادات کے خیموں میں فگا، یوں نہ زینب کے سہارے جاتے، کاش عباس نہ مارے جاتے، کاش عباس نہ مارے جاتے، کاش عباس نہ مارے۔ گردن شاہ پہ یوں رن میں نہ خنجر چلتا، یوں نہ خورشید امامت سر مقتل ڈھلتا، یوں نہ سر نیزوں پہ سارے جاتے، کاش عباس نہ مارے جاتے، کاش عباس نہ مارے جاتے، کاش عباس نہ ہوتے عباس دلاور تو نہ خیمے جھلتے، شام غربت نہ سکینہ کو تماچے لگتے، گوشوارے نہ اتارے جاتے، کاش عباس نہ مارے جاتے، کاش عباس نہ مارے جاتے، کاش عباس نہ مارے۔ ہوتے عباس تو چھنتی نہ ردا زینب کی، پاؤں میں عابد مزتر کے نہ بیری دلتی، تازیانے بھی نہ مارے جاتے، کاش عباس نہ مارے جاتے، کاش عباس نہ مارے جاتے، کاش عباس نہ۔ آج بھی آتی ہے یہ قبر سکینہ سے صدا، اے چچا لاتی نہ زندان میں یوں ہم کو قضا، ساتھ گر ہم بھی تمہارے جاتے، کاش عباس نہ مارے جاتے، काश अब्बास न मारे जाते, काश अब्बास न मारे जाते। मोहम्मद व आल मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम।
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وبه نستعين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا أبي القاسم محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعلى عطرته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أما بعد، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. It is our belief and our conviction, actually, that death, as we call it, is not the end of life at all. In fact, human beings have been created to live for very, very long time. We come into the dunya at different times. Some of us see prophets, some of us don't. Some of us live for 80 years, some of us live for a lot less than that. And then we enter into barzakh at different times. And this sometimes confuses us about length of life. But it is really only a blink of an eye compared to life, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls it in the Quran. He says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وَلَلْآخِرَةُ هِيَ الْحَيَوَانِ. The akhirah, the hereafter, what will happen when this world comes to an end, that is the beginning of life. And in that life, there is no difference between human beings. All of us will enter it at the same time. All of us will live there for the same time. And we will be equal in age that way, equal in the time we spend there. So this is a long life that we are going to go through. There are many stages ahead. However, in the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created it, He has created it with certain segments. Every so often we have to finish with one segment, cross through a door and enter into another segment. That's all. Life continues. It is in fact even more vital and vibrant than the previous stage. We should remember that when we put somebody into the ground, it is only that they are continuing on a journey behind them. We are not far away. The interesting thing about this life, though, is that every stage of it, every subsequent stage of it is determined by how you spent the previous stage. And there is a lesson in this in the way we run our lives. Sometimes a youngster will resent having to do a bit of coursework, a bit of homework. He would rather play. But his father will tell him that if you buckle down now, 10 years from now, you will be much happier because of that hard work you put in now. This is something we see every day. We know this. Please recite a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. There's an announcement that says that every car in the rugby needs to be moved into the center immediately. But Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat. If the child, if the youngster is careless when he is young, it will affect the kind of lifestyle he inherits when he's older. The hard work put in the beginning is not for its own sake, but for a result that is to come in the future. We all understand this. We all understand when somebody comes and tells us, if you part with £50 a month while you are working, when you are unable to work, we will give you X amount of money as a pension. We understand the sense of this. So we're willing to sacrifice. We tighten our belt for that £50 because we know there is a purpose. Yet, we have not been assured by Allah that we will see that age of pension. But still we say, this makes sense. It is exactly the same way. In the dunya, it is a prelude to life. For its own sake, it has no value. But for the sake of akhirah, it's super important. The way you lead this life will determine the way you will live in real life. That's the truth of it. So at this point in time, did you live a life? Did you live a life that was God-centered? Did you live a life for more than yourself, to help humanity, to be there as a support for others? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taken on his shoulders many things. Like he says, I give rizq. I help people. But he does this through agents who are willing to sign up and say, Ya Allah, I will be that agent, through which your promise will be fulfilled. I will live for others. I will sacrifice for others. I will be your agent. And that is why we say in one of the du'as in the month of Ramadan that, Ya Allah, when you are choosing your agents, make me one of them. وَلَا تَسْتَبْدِلْ بِي غَيْرِي. Don't replace me with somebody else. Because if you don't sign up, Allah will choose someone else. But you say, Ya Allah, I want to be that one, through whom your promises are fulfilled. So in the end, these are important things in this very brief discourse. When I look at the life of my father-in-law, Marhum Muhammad Bakar Bharwani, please remember him with one Surah Fatiha before we proceed. I learned several things from him, just by observing and watching and seeing how he did. I found, for example, a man who was very disciplined. One of the problems we have in life is lack of discipline. People do one thing for 5 minutes, but that's it, Sodanu Josh, the next time it's not done. But I found that the things that he believed in, the things that were important to him, he did them diligently without fail. And we're talking about small things. Because I was watching him at close quarters, you might think, Abbas, this is very small. For example, if he started a task, he would not stop till it was finished. He would not give up on it halfway, even if it was cleaning the garden. You know, he would say, we are going to finish. We've been doing it for 2 hours. The rest can happen tomorrow. He said, no, we will finish. And after we finish, he wants all the tools also cleaned. I said to him, nah, because it will have to be clean. Right now we clean. This was things I noticed again and again and again. After a while, I thought this is the kind of discipline I can learn from. You know, that this is something that as you watch people and you learn, in the best way to, I suppose, celebrate somebody's life is to take those lessons into your own life, because you learned them from that person. And that is more helpful to him and to you than anything else. He was very dedicated to family. He was very proud of his children, whom he had worked hard to educate much more than he ever had the opportunity to be educated. And he was super proud of his grandchildren and would be in touch with them always. If they did not contact him, Bapa would contact. It wasn't, I'm sitting here on a higher level, you need to come and meet me. No, he was very proud of them. And, you know, constantly he was in touch with them. In fact, he was a people's person. The messages I personally got surprised me at the age group that I was getting the questions from, the dilasa from. Younger people who were saying that, no, Bakar Bapa, you know, used to have a quiet, jolly word with me in the mosque. He would have a chat with me in the mosque. So these are things that are important, because these are the people who will remember you after you are gone. The success of a life, in my opinion, is when people remember you with fondness and they are sad that you are no longer there. And the third thing, He was very jolly. You know, in hadith we have from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Allahumma salli ala. May Allah bless the person who, when he comes into gatherings, spreads humor. And by humor, we mean just jolliness and cheer, right? So that when he leaves, the people are happier and lighter after he has left. And you will find that those who know him well and all, alhamdulillah, you have come here and it is humbling for us because it is a sign of your love for us and our family and for Bakabai, that he was a very jolly person. He was more prone to be saying something jolly than he was to have a frown. And, for me, for example, ironically, he would tell me son-in-law and father-in-law jokes. I remember just maybe 10 days ago, we were driving along, and he said to me, there's a friend of mine who told his father-in-law. I said, what did he tell his father-in-law? He said he went to his father-in-law and said to him that I received a product from you. I just want to ask, is there a warranty? So his father-in-law said to him that, well, yeah, 12 months warranty, but you have come after 18 years. Pavando nathi, even then, mutane maaf karte, but I've stopped production in the factory now, so there is no chance. And he would, we would laugh, and there would be that cheer. And these are things that are important. We need to come into gatherings and spread happiness, cheer, so that person thinks, you know what, this person came, we had a bit of a chat, I feel lighter in my heart because of that meeting. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless him, inshallah ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raise his station, inshallah ta'ala. Times like this, people often wonder what they can do. And our Sharia has told us that there are things you can do. Because in Allah's mercy, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keeps the Nami Amal, the book of records, of people open even after they pass away, allowing them to gain thawab. Indirectly, not directly. When they were alive, they could gain thawab directly. Now they are relying on us. That please remember me. And they are waiting. Hadith talks about how they wait expectantly. And see others receiving, but they feel a sense of sadness that nobody remembered them. Although they were a part of their life. Although they did so much ihsan to them. But now they are forgotten. So, a man comes to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And says to him, Ya Rasulullah, my father has passed away. Is there anything I can do? So he said to him, are you the eldest son? He said, yes. He said, if you are the eldest son, you are now the head of the family. The responsibilities that were on the shoulder of your father, as the head of the family, now have settled on your shoulders. The things that he needed to look for and look after, now you have to look after. And then Rasulullah said to him, if he has qada, then you should fulfill them yourself. And if you cannot, you should make sure that it is done. Qada of salat, for example, or fasting, or indeed debt. And at this point, I would like to say on behalf of the family that you all knew my father-in-law. If there is anything, small, big, a debt he owes to anyone at all, please do not hesitate to come and meet Munir and Arif Bharwani, his sons, myself, in the ladies, my wife Masuma, and my babis Mansura and Sukaina Bharwani. Please don't hesitate. We would like to clear and happily clear anything like that. And if, what Matibolai Jai, and he said something maybe, knowing the kind of person he is, he would not have done it Jani Joine. Inadvertently, if he said something and you felt that was not right, please forgive him before we bury him, inshallah wa ta'ala. May Allah in return forgive all our sins, inshallah wa ta'ala. Pray for his forgiveness, Rasulullah said. Fulfill his promises. Interestingly, he said to him, respect his friends. If there was someone that your father respected, you should respect him because your father respected him. Then Rasulullah said, recite Quran for them. It's one of the best things we can do is recite Quran for them. In another hadith, Imam Sadiq said to someone, give sadaqat for them. And sadaqat is more than money. It is any sort of, thing that you possess that is extra, that you can offer someone else. It may be your knowledge, it may be a skill, it may be the strength of your arm, okay? It may be just a listening ear and a crying shoulder. If you have, you give it to someone in the name of Marhum and say, Ya Allah, if there is thawab that accrues from this act, if it was sincere and acceptable to you, let the thawab go to my Marhum. So there are many things one can do. And we can visit the grave. Ziyatul Qubur, standing at the graveside, or remembering Marhum with Al-Fatiha whenever one remembers. I've said this before, there is no hadith, and believe me, I looked myself and asked scholars as well. There is no hadith that we have that says that you should recite Surah Fatiha for Marhum. Nothing. Not from the Prophet or the Imams. What there is recite Quran. Quran for your marhumin. But the ulama say, because Fatiha, Surah Fatiha, is symbolic of the whole Quran. It is the nichor of the Quran. It is the summary of the Quran, because in Surah Fatiha, there is a plea we make, isn't it? Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim. Guide me on the straight path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the answer to that plea, the guidance, is in the rest of the 113 surahs. You have asked for guidance, Allah guides you in the rest of the Quran. Because of its position, the Surah Fatiha is symbolic of your willingness to recite Quran for Marhum. Is your willingness to recite Quran. So this is so these are the things we can do. So there is plenty we can give our Marhumin, especially as time passes. Their need does not abate. Right now, everybody recites Quran, but your father passed away 5 years ago. His haqq is not less on you now. He passed 20 years ago. His haqq is not less on you. In fact, his need is not less than it was then. So we need to revisit this and we need to keep it. When we stand to give shoulder to the marhumin and we carry them and we see the coffin, we can't help but remember that there was one shaheed, a great personality who should have been given the utmost respect. But Hussein ibn Ali alayhi salam is lying on the open sand. Can you imagine what is going through the heart of Imam Sajjad as he's being led away in chains, a young man unable to give the last rites to his father? But he had no choice. They dragged him, forcing him to leave the body of Hussein alayhi salam under the sky. There was no ghusl for Hussein ibn Ali. There was no kafan for Hussein ibn Ali. There was nobody who carried his janazah and laid him to rest. It is these things that we need to think about when we bury our dead. ألا لعنة الله القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. Let us remember Muhammad Baqir Bharwani and indeed all our marhumin with one Surah Fatiha.
Nana Papa had 9 grandchildren, 3 from each one of his children, but I think if we're honest with ourselves, we all know that Khalil, or Khalil as he used to call him, was probably his favorite. So please welcome him with the salawat to say a few words.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Khalil Bharwani, and I'm honored to stand before you today to celebrate the life and legacy of my beloved grandfather, Marhum Baqir Bharwani. He was a pillar of strength, a devoted member of this community, and a source of inspiration for all those who knew him. His presence in our lives would be deeply missed. My grandfather's life was marked by his unwavering love and dedication to his family. He was the glue that held us all together, and his kindness, warmth, and generosity were unparalleled. Despite his busy schedule, he never failed to make time for each and every one of us. During his recent trip to Dar es Salaam, he would call us every day to share stories and updates about what he's been up to. His love knew no bounds, and he will always remain the heart of our family. To me, my grandfather was not only a dada bapa, but also my best friend. We spent countless hours together, talking, eating, and playing carom. His presence brought me immense joy and comfort, and I will always cherish the memories we shared. As we gather here today, I ask that you all remember him in your prayers. If my grandfather has ever upset you in any way, I humbly request that you find it in your hearts to forgive him. Additionally, as you all may be aware, my grandfather was a very generous and giving man. If he had any pledges that you may know of, that he did not get the chance to fulfill, or any outstanding debts that he may have, please contact either my father Munir Bharwani or my chacha Arif Bharwani. Finally, I ask that we all recite Surah Al-Fatiha in honor of my beloved grandfather, Marhum Barka Bharwani, and all the Marhumeens. May Allah elevate his status in Jannah and grant him eternal peace, and may his legacy of love and compassion continue to inspire us all. Surah Fatiha.
السلام عليك يا رسول الله، السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء، السلام عليك يا خديجة الكبرى، السلام عليك يا حسن المجتبى، السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله الحسين، وعلى 9 المعصومين من ذريتك، علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والحجة بن الحسن، عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كل وليك الحجة بن الحسن صلواتك